Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, June 13, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazard Outlook for the next 3 weeks. So we're actually looking at week 2 and week 3. So we can see that 2 weeks away, around the time period of June 21 to 27, we can see that we have some greens across portions of the main development region and the eastern Caribbean associated with some amount of above normal rainfall, and that could be induced by the fact that we're going to be having more tropical waves coming off of the coast of Africa moving westward. And considering that we have such warm sea surface temperatures across the main development region, there might be a chance of some of these tropical waves trying to develop, and we also see something similar for the following week, June 28th to July 4th. So get yourself ready, hurricane season is in full swing. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that for the most part, majority of the tropical waves are still squashed to the south by that ridge of high pressure, right there to the southern section of the main development region. Most of these tropical waves are headed right into northern South America to affect sections of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. So as the hurricane season continues, we're going to see the intertropical convergence zone lift a bit northward, causing most of these tropical waves to lift as well and pushing their way across the main development region into the Caribbean, some of which might be developing as they go along. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see some low-level patches of clouds across the eastern and central Caribbean, moving along in that easterly flow of wind brought about by that ridge of high pressure. And we can also see the clouds associated with the numerous tropical waves that are right there dotting the southern portions of the main development region. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on what happened across Jamaica for today. So a post was made on our Twitter page highlighting the clear skies that we've been experiencing across Jamaica for today. Our tweet actually said sun hot to signify how the temperatures were during the time today, and we didn't even have much in the way of strong winds. Can say the same about what's going to be happening for tomorrow. So we might have some cool down where the temperatures are concerned, especially considering that we're going to be getting some more stronger winds coming in across the island for tomorrow. Alright, so let us take a look at the actual visible satellite images before the sun went down. Jamaica, we can actually see that we indeed had some amount of clouds bringing some isolated showers right there across sections of eastern Westmoreland, northwestern St. Elizabeth, even inland areas of some central parishes gotten on some amount of overcast skies, if not some amount of isolated showers. Let's take a look at the temperatures for tonight. We can see that we have 29 degrees Celsius right now in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing 18s on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we see Jamaica embedded in some yellows, some oranges as well. They represent at least up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know that the average temperatures for the month of June is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32.2 degrees Celsius. So if we should be receiving up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures across Jamaica for tomorrow, we should be receiving anywhere from, let's say, between 32 and 35 degrees Celsius at most. Let us take a look at the dry air map. So most people have this confused, thinking that this is showing the Saharan dust. This is actually showing the the dry air across the Atlantic basin. This is the map that's showing the Saharan dust. So we can see that there's a lot of dry air across the Atlantic, stretching all the way from Africa into the Gulf of Mexico with all of those reds. We know that the driest air is represented by the whites within those reds, and we see that right there off the coast of Africa, not to mention the coast of Mexico. As relates to the Saharan dust, we can see that by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the Saharan dust will be across majority of the main development region, as well as making its way into sections of the Eastern Caribbean as well. So those persons who are usually affected by the Saharan dust, try to take the necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected when your your sinus, your asthmatic issues are triggered. So we can see that majority of the dust is still going to be across the main development region. They are going to be getting some shades of hazy kind of weather, but it won't be that robust. We know that the heaviest hazy weather associated with the Sahara Desert is usually in the darkest browns, and we see majority of that is across portions of Africa. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing a hint of some purples to the south and east of Jamaica, which are indicative of at least maybe 2 meter wave heights. That's some far out distance. We can see inshore areas should be receiving anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave height surrounding the island. Especially the north coast is going to be a nice day out to go to the beach or to get that fishing done, and that's due to the fact that we'll be receiving some easterly winds, and we can see that the Euro is a bit more robust with the strength of these winds as indicated by the yellows. The yellows represent anywhere from 25 to 30 knot winds, and we can see some of that coming into sections of the south coast of Jamaica. So we might have the strongest winds across sections of St. Thomas, maybe Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, London, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland right there. While the north coast will be getting anywhere from, let's say, 10 to 15 knot winds. However, where does all of this air pile up? Where do we have the least amount of winds across the island for tomorrow? We see some of that across sections of some central and western parishes, and with the strongest winds coming in from the south, coming in along the south coast, we can expect that some of these clouds that are going to be building in the afternoon hours to formulate some convection, some cumulonimbus cloud, some of this might be pushed up more towards the north coast as well as the west coast. So get ready for that, and considering that we have a very evident trough still across the central Caribbean, as indicated by the curvature in these lines of the upper level wind, we still see that we have that upper level support for the north coast. We have a southwesterly flow expected for 18Z on Wednesday, 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and anytime after that, that's when we're going to be expecting our afternoon convection. So definitely we might get in on some amount of rainfall across sections of some western and especially northern parishes, considering that if we have that cumulonimbus cloud forming from those cumulus clouds, majority of those clouds will be pushed out towards the northeast by that upper level flow of winds. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we see that we have some amount of consensus. This is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 12 p.m. Jamaica time, and we see some blues that represent rainfall on the eastern half of the island, St. Thomas, Portland, and the GFS Small. The Euro a bit more robust, showing it across eastern, central, and western Jamaica, but we do see the consensus with eastern Jamaica right there. So yes, we are going to be getting in on some rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland at midday on Wednesday, skipping ahead to about 3 hours later. This is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we see that we have blues that represent rainfall now across sections of eastern, central, and western parishes. And the Euro is a bit more robust, showing some even darker shades of blue and even greens within there, even on the south coast of the island. That's not making sense with what I'm seeing, especially considering the winds are coming in so strong on the south coast and the upper level winds are coming in from the southwest. It makes more sense to believe what the GFS is showing, with the rainfall, majority of it, dotting the west and the north coast of Jamaica. So the east coast, the north coast, and the western sections of the island makes more sense, just like what we saw on the wind forecast for tomorrow, especially considering that the winds are coming in so strong on the south coast. So any cumulus clouds that are going to be forming during the afternoon hours are going to want to be pushed more towards the north and west across the island. And even if we skip ahead to about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time, we still see some blues that represent rainfall. GFS a bit less robust than the Euro. Euro having some colors that indicate some high totals of rainfall around that time, 7 p.m. off the northwestern coast of Jamaica. GFS showing something similar in terms of where the rainfall is located, northwestern section, maybe Montego Bay, Trelawney. However, look at that shade of blue across eastern Jamaica. Maybe still some rainfall in store for sections of Portland and St. Thomas, and we do see the consensus right there. I know that when we have consensus, when we have both maps showing the same thing, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. We even see some consensus in the accumulated precipitation forecast by both the Euro and the GFS models. Both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, and we see that we do indeed have that consensus with the rainfall across sections of some northern, western, and especially eastern parishes in Jamaica. So take necessary precautions, then you're not drastically affected. Bring your rain gear, umbrella, raincoat, whatever the case may be, especially those persons living in St. Thomas and Portland. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see some clouds coming in from the east across sections of the Leeward Islands. So it's about time they got in on some amount of rainfall, considering that majority of the rainfall associated with those troughs have been plaguing majority of the central and western Caribbean, not to mention the greater Antilles, so Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica. Now we're getting in on some more cloud cover across the eastern half of the basin. And if we even take a look at the Doppler radar images for today, these images are running from about 1 p.m. today, and we can see that we did indeed have some amount of rainfall, if not passing shower, hit or miss showers across sections of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis, maybe Antigua and Barbuda, St. Barts, Montserrat, Guadeloupe got in on some amount of rainfall. And even if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can also see that we indeed had some amount of rainfall right there across sections of Martinique. Even rainfall coming in at this time from the east. Sections of St. Lucia might get on some rainfall later this evening. Sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadine Islands getting in on some definite heavy rainfall right there. And we can see that some of this rainfall is coming into sections of Grenada tonight as well. Majority of the rainfall staying offshore to the north and south of Barbados at this time. Let us take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images. We can see some amount of rainfall right there across sections of Florida, sections of western Cuba, sections of Honduras and Guatemala. We can see some rainfall coming into sections of Nicaragua. We can see some rainfall as well coming into sections of French Guyana associated with those tropical waves, as well as Suriname. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see above normal temperatures stretching all the way from the eastern Caribbean to the western Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, with the most above normal temperatures even up to 9 or 11 degrees above normal temperatures across sections of Mexico and Texas for 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that majority of the dust is going to be at 2 p.m. on Wednesday across sections of the eastern Caribbean, stretching all the way from the ABC Islands north and eastern to Puerto Rico, and majority of the Leeward and Windward Islands should be getting in on some slight hazy conditions, not too much to bring that very milky color to the sky. We might still see some blue in the sky, so it won't be as robust as what we've been used to in the past couple of years in the summer months, and we're indeed grateful for that. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have the highest waves as indicated by the purples to the south of Jamaica, to the north of Colombia, and to the east of the Windward Islands, and those purples represent 2-meter wave heights or more, and that's due to the fact that the strongest wind will be in those spots. So anywhere from maybe 15 to 20 knot winds across the main development region. And look at those yellows to the south of Jamaica, south of Haiti. Lots of 25 to 30 knot winds are expected across those areas, and we see both the Euro and the GFS showing the same thing. I know that when they're showing the same thing like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher, while the rest of the Caribbean basin should be receiving anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds coming in from the east. Majority of the Gulf of Mexico has those winds coming in from the south. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, Both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So if the rain is not already falling right now, it's still going to be expected up until then. We know the greens represent some amount of rainfall, if not some amount of isolated passing showers, while the reds represent some very heavy rainfall. Even the purples, that might lead to some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place. So we do indeed see some rainfall stretching all the way from Puerto Rico, especially eastern Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, maybe Antigua and Barbuda might get in on some of that, Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Tobago, Trinidad, and you see a lot of rainfall coming into sections of the southern portion of the basin as well. So sections of Guyana, French Guyana, Suriname, southern Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Suriname, not Suriname, Costa Rica, and we see some purples in there across sections of Costa Rica and Panama as well that indicate maybe some flash flooding taking place, because that's up to even 3 inches of rainfall. We can see some more rainfall expected for sections of Nicaragua, sections of Honduras, and El Salvador as well. And we even see some slight greens that represent rainfall across maybe sections of southeastern Belize. So we'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Not so much rainfall in store for sections of Cuba. They're getting a break from all the rainfall that they've been experiencing for the past couple of weeks. And we can see that the Bahamas area is getting a break from majority of the rainfall that they've been getting. Not to say that they won't be getting in on some passing showers here and there. Even sections of the Turks and Caicos as well. Not so much in terms of rainfall across sections of the Cayman Islands, but we do indeed see some rainfall across sections of Hispaniola, maybe Haiti, Dominican Republic might get in on some amount of rainfall as well. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.